We're live. Oh dear, that caught me out. I was looking at YouTube and it's still running numbers. Well, good evening, everybody. No, you're not seeing my face, but I guess the first thing to do is check that everybody can hear me. I'm loud enough and there's no echo. Hello, Colin Wikes. Hello, Hot Dog Andy. Sorry I missed yours today. I was out, which you will see in a moment because I was out shopping for railway items. Mr. Chubberton, hello there. Mr. Dan, my goodness, so many people. I never expected more than one person, a bit like Jason at his show. I kind of expected there to be one person turn up. Thank you, Andy. So this may yet go sideways because I've actually got my mobile telephone connected to give a second camera. And I've got shots of my screen, so it may look okay and sound okay now, but it may go down the tubes very quickly. Yes, RGJ. Hello, everybody saying hello. Oh, it's weird having to read this and talk at the same time. Right, I suppose I better get started, hadn't I? So I guess the first thing to do is to say that what I'm going to do is initially I'm going to show you what I picked up at the Llangollen Model Railway Toy Fair at Llangollen. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is show you my purchases that I made at the previous weekend, which was at Ellesmere. Now, it's normally in the town hall, but I think the town hall is getting refurbished. So it was in a new venue to me, very small and very, very compact, we shall say. Obviously, you can go on my channel and see that after this show. But the outcome of that was that I did buy a few wagons, which is my usual way of doing things. So just to explain, I do have a penchant for mainline 50-year-old wagons, especially the ones that are tankers, to the point that I have ginormous rakes and I can't stop myself from buying more. I do have a database in a spreadsheet format that I can actually get at while I'm out, but it's a bit of a fiddly job. So I can check to see if I've got enough, and therefore I shouldn't buy any more. But quite often I end up buying some more anyway. So let's see if we can get, what's it called, StreamYard to work. And the first thing I need to do is to set up my camera. So I'll go a bit distant for a minute. And let's see if that, because okay, just to explain, I'm in a room with my computer with my 3 screens, but I've got my iPhone set up to look at a table, which I think, no, not that one, no, it'll be that one. Yay! So if I'm sounding very slight echo, reverb is almost okay. I'm going to go over the other side of the room to show you what's on screen. So I won't be able to see the text temporarily. I'm going to have to keep jumping between the two. So if you can still hear me, just say yes if you can still hear me. Yes, Andy, mainline. Okay, so if you can still hear me, I'll try and keep my voice high so you can tell what I'm doing. But yes, so this is a mainline wagon. They are very high quality with lots of detail. Well, as far as I'm concerned, there's enough. And as you can see, typical of what I do, whenever I buy something, it goes in my database on the spreadsheet and gets a number and a unique number so I can track where it is. So these things I used to pay a good few years ago. About £5 was my limit for a boxed mainline wagon, and second-hand about £3.50, which I've got a huge amount that I paid those sort of prices for. Unfortunately, the last 3 or 4 years, the prices have gone through the roof, and you can pay for a box one anything from about £7 to about £10 or even £12. So they have shot up in price. So anything that's less than, say, £8 for a boxed one, or maybe less than £7 for an unboxed one, is a bargain. And I think I paid, well, I got a job lot of these from a couple of stalls. So there's the National Benzol. I got the Crossfield Chemicals, which I do quite like. And then I got an SO one. And yes, they're not stopping. And then I got a Royal Daylight. Oh, actually, I lied. I got two Royal Daylights. That's still in shot. No, it's not in shot. There's the trouble with having them remote, so to speak. But we'll carry on. So we've got a shell, well, two shells, and then a United Molasses, with it, which needs fixing, but it's all right. And then I bought another Royal Daylight, which was an odd colour, because normally they're black, as you can see here. And I picked this up because it was part of the same job lot. This one's actually got a metal lump on the bottom of it. I'm not quite sure why, but this is actually a Bachmann. And you can see there's three. It's gone off shot again. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 9 wagons there. And if you divide down what I paid for it, they worked out at £5.33 each. So as far as I'm concerned, absolute bloody bargains. And you may notice that on this one, the lid that you'd normally see is missing. But I have in the past actually designed that up in 3D CAD. And I'll come back to the camera. So I can replace them. I'll just catch up with the text. Live chat 2. What's a live chat? Yes, I think that was a flipping good deal. I got tanked up, yeah. not the sort you're thinking of, no. Everybody's saying hello. So yeah, that was last week at Ellesmere. I did my usual stunt of buying more tank wagons, but that was just the precursor of today, where there was no exhibitions on this weekend. So the only thing that was available was a what do they call it, a toy fair, which is held at the Llangollen. I see what you're saying, RDJ. Yes, I'm already in the live chat. That only actually works if you've got like 300 people in the chat, because then the chat will actually filter some out and not show you every one. But you've got to have a huge number. I don't think it even works in oh gosh, I forgot my name, Jenny's things. I think even then it can cope with the amount that are coming through. It's only when you get like 4,000 in a chat that it actually starts filtering them out. So for most of us puny little YouTubers, it doesn't make a lot of difference, to be honest. But still, you're right. I always go onto the live one to make sure that I don't miss any. Yes, I don't. Well, Dan, I don't think they're actually any better or worse than the Hornby or Bachmann. Hornby have never improved theirs. I think the mainline ones have always been better than the Hornby versions. But the Dapol and Bachmann, it was actually split up, ended up with the tooling from mainline. So they are still available. Hence, you've seen the Royal Daylight one in the rusty colour is actually a Bachmann wagon. There's not a lot of difference with them. I think the Bachmann. The in actual fact, they've both got the same size of coupling. So even though the Bachmann is a more modern version, it's still got the same size coupling. It hasn't got the very small decoupling, but it has got a different. No, it's probably, I'm looking at the wrong one. What are they like? Yeah, so yeah, it has actually got the same number, but Bachmann for some reason decided to change the colour, which is a bit odd. Yeah. You were on for 2 hours. Wow, I'm not going to be on for 2 hours, I can assure you. I think this will be over in half an hour. Another A4. Really, Trevor? That's ridiculous. You've probably got more locos than I have in total, and I've got a lot of locos. I don't know exactly how many. I daren't count them, but I'll definitely knock you out the park for wagons because I've got a lot. Current count, I think, is something like 1,600. Hello, Gary. Right, so on to today. I went to Llangollen Eisteddfod Pavilion for a toy fair. There's only about 30 stalls there, but unlike a lot of the bigger shows where there's maybe a quarter or a third are model railways and all the others are like cars and aeroplanes and teddies and Meccano and things, in this one there's actually probably only 2 or 3 stalls that weren't model railway. And there's some well-known Rutland models, which I'm sure a number of you know quite well, were there in attendance. I think I actually bought something off them. Oh yeah, well, we're not talking about the beer wagons, Trevor. Another fetish of yours, isn't it? We all have our fetishes, and mine's mainline tankers, obviously. Yeah, each one of these types of tanker, I think I've probably got some in the region of between 30 and 40 of each type, and that's just tanker wagons. And I have other rakes that have similar numbers. Is this the group that do the Landudno one? No, I think it's. I think I got it up. Well, I'll get this thing to work. I might be able to show you. No, don't do that. This is where everything's going to go wrong, isn't it? Yeah. No, Jackson and James Events. So it's one of theirs. They're well known for doing lots of shows. One of 3 or 4 that do them in this area. But it's it's only £3 to get in, and you can't help yourself from finding a bargain somewhere. So I'm going to go through what if I can work my way back to the live shot. I'm literally I whatever I bought, I threw into a couple of plastic bags, and I'm going to pull them out and show you what I bought, basically. So again, I'll be away from the text. I'll be over here. Just move those out of the way. And we'll start with one of 2 bags. And we'll see what happens. So there was a couple of stalls where I was quite interested because following Grace's work on RGJ, it's always good to make flowers. And as such, I picked up a couple of things. And if you can have a look at that, that is actually blue static grass, which is an interesting one. I think I paid about £1 for it, and it's quite a big bag of static grass. So that was a first bargain. Again, this is not static grass. This is flocking material, so that will be good for I don't know, lilacs and that sort of thing, for sprinkling on the top of the bushes. I do have quite a wide selection of scatter, materials like this. But I'm going to bring in the other bag. But at the end of the day, I mean, I guess you pay for a very small bag of static grass, something, I guess, smaller than that. You can pay £2 or £3. So I paid £1 for that, which, although it's second hand, there's nothing wrong with it. It's never been used. So that's an absolute bargain. And there's another one. That's GM 170 Flock Spring Green, 30 grams. So that's probably about the right price, maybe a little bit cheaper than you'd normally get it. But it's second hand, but it's completely unopened. There's nothing wrong with knock. So another one up here, we've got light green cluster foliage. So this is it's like a sponge, but it's already sort of pre-flocked with a colouring and stuff. It's something I actually make myself, but I think this is because it's like pre-glued together. It might be quite nice as vegetation or lumpy vegetation to go on a tree. And we have that one, and then with Green Scene Collection. Now, Green Scene is a company who make the static grass applicator that my arm's in the way of the light, isn't it? They make the static grass device that I use, and a lot of their products, well, you know, all of their products are brilliant, I have to say. And I know the owner very, very well because I've met him literally dozens of times and always had a good old chat with him. But he's actually retired, and he's passed it on to another couple who carrying on doing the shows. So if you go to a model exhibition, go and see Green Scene because they're really good products. A lot of people swear by WWS as their go-to for scenic materials and static grass. There are other companies out there, and I know there is a fraternity in the modelling community that actually don't like WWS because their colours aren't kind of natural, and actually prefer the likes of Green Scene because they think the colour rendition is a lot better. So again, £2 for a bag. You'd probably pay £3.50 at least from the shop. You have a look later online. So again, another bargain because it's second hand. Here we go. Here's another one that's got a slight mixture of a sort of foamy product. Again, another one for making bushes and trees. 50p for a half decent sized bag. You can't complain at that price. It takes effort and time to make your own, and at the end of the day, I don't mind paying 50p for a product rather than £5, which seems a little more excessive. Then we've got another Green Scene one. This is a very dark, fine foliage. Again, it'd be good for a tree of a darker leaved variety to give us some variety across the trees. What else have we got? Oh God, it never stops, does it? Okay, so the model tree shop. Now, I know I've seen these people at the shows before now, and they do some superb trees. They're all both ready-made and all of the materials that you need to make the trees. Again, definitely have a good nosy at their stall if you see one of them on the exhibitions. And again, it's quite a big bag for £2. That's an absolute steal, isn't it? And it's never ending. Here's another 50p. No, £1. So that's a slight mixture of yellow and green. It looks like very fine bits of foam. So as I've said, I'll eventually bring out a video and show people how I make this stuff myself. It's surprisingly easy when you know the right techniques. But making it this fine and chopping it up this fine is perhaps a little more difficult. So, because it tends to go from big chunks down to dust very quickly, and getting the very small stuff isn't so easy. So again, for £1, you can't complain at that. And we're not to the bottom of the bag yet. Oh my God. I bought so much stuff. Right, we're getting there. Right, another £1 job. This is like a mustard coloured, I don't know what it is. I wouldn't say it. I guess it's foam. It's not heavy enough to be a wooden product. So I'm guessing it's some sort of foam product. That's a more mustardy colour. That might do for some ground cover. And getting close. So here we have, again, for £1, we have a selection of 4 different colours: a very light pale green, a lightish blue, a white colour, and a pinky colour. Again, this is going to be ideal. Get lots of variation for flower beds to give you multiple colours for putting on, like, something like a 6 or 8 mil tuft, and you can then make little individual tufts that you can lay out in a border as part of the of a border in a garden or a plant pot or planting bed or something like that. And again, you don't need much. I mean, a quarter of one of these packets will make dozens and dozens of individual bushes. So it goes a long way, and at £1, you can't knock it, can you? Last but 2. Right, another green scene product. I'll hold that bit further away. This is meadow grass fine. So it's actually a sheet which is 18 by 36 centimetres. I think it's like quartered up and folded over. But it's kind of like static grass all pre-glued together. So basically you could kind of put this over an embankment, and that's like rough grass instantly. Obviously, it'd be better to break it up and make it into very thin bushes. So it's a bit like, not bushes, but ground cover. And then the final item out the green bag is another model tree shop. Again, the finely ground foamy stuff, which is ideal for trees. And again, £2 for quite a sizable bag. I think that's a bargain. So let me come back to the chat for a tick and catch up with what you've been saying. Now I've got to work out where last read up the thing. So we've had, excuse me while I read. And Grace, it's obviously Grace is RGJ because she's saying purple. That's a bit like when she says Kevin. Landud knows coming around. We'll have to see if we can entice Rob and Grace to get to that one. Yeah, you would like the purple, wouldn't you, Grace? Hello, Mr. Humphreys. Welcome to the first ever live chat of Timberserve. PM. What do you mean, Brian? What do you mean, PM? Does that mean afternoon, or you've sent me a message? Yeah, I knew this would be hard. It's very, very hard keeping up with text and actually carrying on talking. Talking is not something I actually do. You've got to get me on a subject that I'm fond of. You can hear the echo. Yeah, I think it's coming from the iPhone. I did turn the volume down as low as it goes. Obviously, I should have muted it, I guess. But I'm not really set up for lives, so the computer's fine. It's got a computer next, a mic next to it, but I don't actually have a carrier for my phone. It's so it's currently got a belt clip attached to a box hanging on the side of the desk. Hello, Hermitage Road and Colin. Oh, did I say hello to Colin before? Oh dear, I don't do very well, am I? Right. Hello, Secura. Hello, Secura Denture. That's a name from the blast from the past. I haven't seen one of your videos for a very long time. What do you mean porting the timesheets? I can show you if you want. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Thank you very much. I need some moderators, don't I? Oh dear. How remiss of me. I'd go mad with somebody if they didn't put me up as a moderator, and I've got none. Oh well, I wasn't expecting more than one. So what was it? Oh gosh, yeah. So hit the like button, please, folks. Thank you very much, and subscribe if you're not. But I'm sure most of you are. You're all regulars that I see every other day on other lives. A camera mount for an iPhone. I've got one somewhere. I just haven't got a clue where. And I've literally, I've been mulling over the idea of going live for, I don't know, 12 months. And it just struck me today, you know, I've got to bite the bullet at some point in time. So I thought I'd give it a go. And I sat down and after, well, tea time, I thought, I wonder if I can get my head around StreamYard. I've used OBS in the past, but for like internal uses, not for streaming. And I thought, well, it can't be, it's supposedly easier than OBS, so I'll give it a go. And I've managed to connect my iPhone as a second camera, which, hey, it works, which is surprising. And then, of course, I did something wrong and I ended up with half a picture on something, and I ended up having to crash my phone and restart it. So I had to write out a new link. It didn't go well. So I think if this is coming out half decent, I'm doing extremely well. Mr. Stanover, Captain's static. I just bought some static grass. Right. So as you can see, obviously I hit the second-hand stalls for Scenic Material. Sometimes they have none, and sometimes they have quite a lot, and sometimes it's too expensive. There was a stall there that had a lot of Scenics, but I just wasn't buying it. You know, they've got like bags of trees for £5, but I can buy them for £5 from China. So yeah, it's not cheap, and I only do bargains. You know me, I don't overpay for anything. I'm a tight wad. Scottish ancestry, obviously. So okay, so yeah, so we did a lot of Scenic, and that's bad, isn't it? Right, so we'll go back to the table and see what's in the other bag. And guess what? Look, oh dear, another tanker. It's different from all the others. Yeah, so that's a BP one. I think I've got 38 of those now, from memory. It's but it's a good nick. And yes, it's a £5. So I wasn't going to turn that one down. There is a little story. By the end of the show, I went with about 60 quid in my pocket, which is foolish because, well, it's both clever and foolish. Because it's foolish because it's never enough. You never take enough to cover what you want to buy. But it's also clever because it stops you from buying stuff. And I'd spent all my money, and I think I used my credit card as well on one of the purchases. And unfortunately, I scanned tankers around the first time I walked around the show. I always do it twice and see where the bargains are, log it in my brain for later to go back on the basis that I hope nobody else has snapped them up before me. But I did spot some tankers at one stall, and they were going for £7 each, and they were boxed. So by the time I'd finished running around, I went back to them and I said, "Have you got a card machine?" And they said, "No." Because I only had a tenner in my wallet left. So unfortunately, I had to leave 4 behind. But that was one purchase. Now, as I did mention earlier, Rutland Models were there, and they have a number of second-hand items, as well as their 3D printed stuff and their laser cut stuff. So I managed to grab hold of some Umbro and Revel paints. So I don't know whether you can see the colours there. But I guess these things, they retail at about two. So it depends where you go and whether you have to pay postage. But I think in the shops are about £2.80 a pop. I have bought them in the past from eBay and paid, something like £1 a pot, but they're second hand, and it's a bit of a lottery. So you can get some that have never been touched and never been opened, and others that have been opened, and there's like a quarter left in the bottom, and it's completely dried out. So it is very much a punt when you buy them second hand and you can't get hold of them. But these, although that one is showing that it has been opened because it's got a bit of paint around the edge of the tin, all the others, two of them have got a bit of paint around them, but all the others have never been opened basically. All right, 3, I lie. So weight wise, all of these are full, and I paid, wait for it, I'll do Jason on you, I'll tell you in a minute. See how he likes it. No, they were 75 pence each. That is bargain, isn't it? You're not going to get that. So I can actually demonstrate, because although I'm not in my modelling room, I can demonstrate my stock, because I happen to have it in this room. So there are some of my Umbral paints, and there are a few more. And there's a few more. Oh, look, and there's a few more. So you can't even see them, can you? I'll move them back. You might be able to see them there. Yeah. So yeah, I've got quite a few. I've got a good selection. But some of these are from my childhood. Others I bought second hand from sources, either shows or online. And occasionally, what that is? Oh, that's a 3D printed electrical cable. Some of them, they end up with, they're basically shot at. You end up opening it and it's a quart full and it's completely dried out, especially the matte ones. So yeah, they're all marked up, but I don't actually follow the rules very well, but never mind. So yeah, that's another 6 to go in the pile to add to some of the colours, which unfortunately I have to guess when I'm there. There was a tin that was yay big, full of these paints, and you've got to work out which ones you're missing, which of course I'll end up painting something and work out, oh, I've got that colour. But the great beauty of Umbral and Rebel enamels is they're both, they're pretty much compatible with each other. And if you haven't got the right colour, I just mix them together. So hence why I bought some white and a dark or black. And I can make any one of the greys, and I end up using a lot of greys. So you can use them like a mixing palette and produce any colour you want. Right, I'll come back to the chat for a minute. 90p a tin, says Sodor. I'm out of breath talking. This is hard work. Hello, Jake. Yeah, I remember when they were 50p a tin. Hello, Paul. Yes, Rudland are a very good shop. I clearly need more. Yes, I'm not even showing you my acrylic selection. That's only a small part of my paint collection. Airfix paints are very similar. Used to come in a glass jar with a plastic lid, which I think is actually slightly better. Hello, Smallwood. Welcome to the chat. Very unusual for me to be in it. Right, so I've even caught up with the with the The chat, I'm doing really well. I've got to do with another phone so I can look at that. I should have borrowed the wife's, shouldn't I? And then I could have kept up with the text. But she won't have a clue. I have to get it on, so it's too late now. Right, and we're going back to the table again. So one more bit of scenic material, which I've actually got about 5 or 6 bags of, but every time I pick this stuff up, it's slightly different from the last one. So this is black. It's actually quite heavy, so I think it's stone or crystals, and obviously it's for coal. And I know that I'm going to need eventually to put coal loads in my, the tenders of my steam locos, and I've got a lot of wagons that will be in theory carrying coal. So again, I'll need to make loads for them. So I don't know. I mean, obviously there are different grades of coal, in the real world, and therefore you can have different colours and styles. Well, won't look out of place that they do look different. So having a variety kind of is a good thing. And I forget, I think this was 50p. It's surprisingly heavy. I think it's what they put in the bottom of fish tanks. It's like a I don't know what to call it. It's not crystal. But it's not stone, it's like a, oh, don't know, the word's gone. Well, that was the last scenic item. And then got 1 or 2 more things. I was looking through a store and I came across some guards vans, and I've got enough guards vans. I stopped collecting guards vans probably 10 years ago, because I've probably got 20 or 30, which is enough to do all the rakes I've got. But they had a box full of wagons, and they were £3.50 each for wagons, which I thought was very, very cheap. But I didn't need it. But I looked in one of the boxes. You always need to get under the tables. Yeah, I know it's hard at our age to bend down, but bend your knees, kneel if you can. I can't kneel, I've got bad knees. But have a look at the boxes underneath. It takes a bit of effort and time to lift stuff out and see what's underneath. But I was looking through another box full of wagons, which were even cheaper. So I paid £1.50. And this thing is by Bachmann, and obviously quite modern and well detailed. It's plastic sticking out the mould, so it's not got added metal detail, so it's not as good as they can get, but it's pretty well detailed. It's good enough for me, and it comes with a free man at the end, which is really, that's a mega bargain. Although it says Northeast, which is not really. I'm kind of modelling Lumsdonia is a railway company on its own, fictitious, but it's in the LMS area, so I don't mind there being LMS stuff, but I guess maybe LMS pinched an LNER one. we won't tell anybody. Okay, so that's the 2 bags done, apart from 2 more items. Okay, so have a guess what they are. Yes, they're figures. They're made by Prizer of Europe. Yes, they're HO, but they're not actually people. So I don't think you're going to notice the scale, because they are chins. I don't know whether you'll see it, that is or not. So I couldn't turn my nose up that. I could probably get hold of the files and 3D print them. But to be honest, these are ready painted, which saves my eyesight, because fiddly things aren't that easy. And they're normally, for a Prizer's box like this, you're going to pay about somewhere between £12 and £14. They're not cheap. But this guy had one on its own, always didn't quite know what they're worth, so I got that for £3. So again, another timber surf bargain. Can I pick 'em all? What? Excuse me. Okay, and then one last final bargain. Again, if you know my channel very well, you know I did a church diorama, which is a bit of a duality because it has a wedding at one end and a funeral at the other. And I'm not sure I showed it in the diorama, but I also got some, I've been collecting and looking for white limousines, black limousines, and obviously a hearse. And I have got a hearse. I actually kind of bought, I can't remember the make, but it's a European manufacturer's church kit. And included in it was a black hearse, but it's HO and it's not very good. So I managed to find a 1 to 76 hearse from Oxford, which will be perfect. It's got no hearse in it. It's got no hearse in it. It's got no coffin in it. So I'm going to have to get the screwdriver out and see if I can dismantle it, because I can print coffins. So I need to print the coffin up and make some little wreaths. I can show you how to, well, look at my church diorama. That shows you how to make wreaths, to put on the top and the sides, and put mum down the side or something. And considering Oxford these days go from anything from about £7 to £8, I think that's, again, another timber serve bargain. So there you go. That was today's bargains from Toys and Trains Collectors Fair. Let me catch up with the text. Hello, Fred. Shelbury, Wilbury Castle. Oh my gosh, everybody's coming. I'm so grateful that I'm not sitting here with like one other person in my life, which would be terribly embarrassing. And I just hope that I'm doing well enough to keep you entertained on this Sunday evening. Because I know that John JMC occasionally goes on a Sunday, and he did come up early, and I thought, oh rats, I'm clashing with John. But it didn't last very long. I don't know whether he's redone it, but obviously, as it was an impromptu, it was just the way it worked out. Okay, so I think I'll stick with the screen now. We've had enough of the whatever it was. No, don't do that. Don't do that. We'll go back to that one for a minute. Right, so just to keep you, how long been? 3/4 an hour. Right, we'll give it another quarter hour, and I'll open up for questions now. I'm actually looking at the text. Oh, thank you, Mark. Yeah, this is hard work for me because I'm not a chatty person. Yeah, he didn't used to go every Sunday. He used to go, I don't know, every alternating Sunday, I think it was. But yeah, he hasn't been on for a while, and I would hate to tread on his toes. But what's a favourite bargain of the day? Yeah, good question. I guess a mainline tanker for a £5 is pretty good, and I'm pretty pleased with an Oxford diecast for £4. But I guess it's probably the Prizer chickens at £3. That's a steal. And obviously the paints are cheap. I mean, that's probably the cheapest I've seen Umbral paints for a very, very long time. And they've got loads. So get yourselves down to Rudler Models. Still got a bin full of multitude of colours. And thank you very much for saying that I'm doing okay, because I feel like I'm dying here. Right, to answer Brian. Okay, I'll have to tell you the story. Lumsdonia was, I forget now, I think it was the 5th, or it might have been the 7th model railway that I started to build. And I was 10.5 foot by 4 foot. But it started about 20 years ago, when most of the kids had started leaving home. And I made a huge cock up. I made the classic modeller's error, and I made the inclines too short. There was basically, it lifted up about 4 inches in 4 feet. So the only way you could get a loco up it was with just one passenger coach. That was as many as you could carry, and you had to give it full tilt to get it to make it up to the top of the hill. So it had to go. It was just, the whole design was flawed. So that was phase 1 of Lumsdonia, and as like I said, it was eventually to go. The phase 2 was to go around the rest of the room to be added onto it. It was designed such it had little sections of track hanging outside, ready to be attached to other bits. But I got to the point where I realised that I live in a huge house because I've got 3 kids. I bought a cheap, dilapidated, horrible house that was in a right battered state, although it was big, and it's taken me 35 years to do it up into half decent. But it's now too big. Just me and the wife rattling around in a monster house. There's no point. So it crossed my mind that eventually I'm going to have to move. I'm going to have to downsize. And what I don't want to do is to spend 10 or 15 years building my heart and soul into a model railway just to rip it up. So I made the hard decision to scrap phase 1 of Lumsdonia to start with. And secondly, that if I was going to build anything, it would have to be of a modular design such that it would be easy to remove from the house and rejoin it into other items to make up a layout in another room, in another house or shed, of which I didn't know what the shape or size was. So, I can't really go too far without getting it wrong and having to waste time and effort. So I have built a couple of modules. I have 2 6 foot long by 2 foot wide modules, which join together and form a train station that's long enough to take the rakes of trains that I intend to run, which is 8 carriages. Hello, Jason. So yeah, it's a 12 foot long board with an 8 foot platform on. It's 4 track, and the trains can move about 3 foot down it. So it's not what you'd call a model railway, but it is fully detailed. It is complete. There's nothing really missing from it as such, including a Helgen turntable, lots of scratch built items and buildings. It's the it is a complete layout, even though no trains can run on it. Well, they can run onto the floor off the ends of it. So yeah, I kind of got stuck there. There are several other projects I've been over the years making scratch built stuff, although that's kind of curtailed because I've now got into 3D and I'd like to get into laser cutting. So that will eventually take over the scratch builds. But there's lots of projects on the go that nobody's ever seen that's sitting in the sort of 75% complete, including locomotives. I actually built locomotives from scratch before the days of 3D. A lot of hand sanding involved, but that's for another day. One day I'll get around to it. So yeah, there is the plan to build Lumsdonia 2. But it won't be in this house. So hopefully at some point in the future, I need to declutter this house, flog it, and buy myself a little bungalow or 2 up, 2 down with a huge garden for a 60-foot shed. And that's where hopefully Lumsdonia will end up, so I can run long trains. Well, Shelfbury, there is actually a very short video. If you look back in my catalogue, there is a video which was about an explosives wagon. At the time, this was in the days before YouTube really took off, and I was a member of just about every model railway forum on the planet. One of the ones that I was very prevalent in, ran a little competition, which is basically one of the members created a special wagon, and he posted it to a forum member, who then took pictures of it, posted them, and posted it on to the next guy, who then took pictures and posted on the next. So basically, it was a wagon round the world, in theory. So it was Guy the Explosives wagon, and it did turn up at Lumsdonia, and it did get a run out on my 12-foot layout, and there is a video if you go back and look through my past catalogue. So you can't say that nobody's ever seen my layout. It is on a video. It is available, and it's also available. Oh, here we go. I'm missing out, aren't I? I've got stuff I can do. Let's see if we work this out right. So if I do that, yay! On my website, Lumsdonia, it's got lots of tips, tricks, and helpful hints. It's got lots of pictures of my projects and links to videos and things. But I started out as a web blog for Lumsdonia, but as I was learning stuff over the last 20 years through forums and YouTube, doing lots and lots of research to build up my knowledge, I thought, well, if it's so hard for me to find all this information, it must be very hard for everybody else. So if I can collate it in one place on a website, it would benefit everybody if I shared it. So that's basically what my web blog became. It became a resource of information, tips and tricks, and projects. I can probably show you. I have the technology. I can do this, surprisingly. I don't know what I'm going to click now. What do I click now? That one. Yeah, that's the one. There you go. There's the website. So so in my layout, there are galleries going all the way back to 2006, including the body in white version of Lumsdonia that got ripped up. There's a whole load of guides on how to build baseboards, do controls, dimming your lights and stuff. There's how-tos on how to create things that you may not instantly understand what to do, like how to make a hot wire, or what to buy. So guides on what's available and what isn't. And there's my hot wire cutter, which is nearly 3 foot long, so I can cut sheets of styrene because it's so long. Completely designed that myself. Looks like it. And there's my carving hot tool, which uses about 8 amps of current, but it means that I can shape and sculpt anything into my landscapes, etc. There's a section on tips from electrical supplies. So top tips for where to buy scratch building materials. There's one for Grace. Kitchen scourers make great hedges. Lots of the resources that you can buy, toothpicks, stirrers, and so forth. Instead of stealing them, yes, I know you steal them. Don't say that you don't. You can actually buy stirrers and the like. They are available from eBay and Amazon, etc. Who we missed? Kyle. Hello, Kyle. Wow. That's not a name I know. Hello, Kyle. Welcome to my live. What we're showing, right? So they go back. There's a very unloved bit of thing. There's something like 4,000 links in it. Admittedly, I've not been maintaining the website. It just takes too much time. But effectively, if you don't know where to buy something, rather than typing it in and it doesn't come up on Google, you can actually go for a subject, if you like. So if we say lighting, there's all of the companies. So if you're looking for, what's that company in America that makes those neon signs? Well, that's Miller Engineering, and that's the link to them. Yeah, and you may not have heard of half of these companies, but obviously from the years of research that I've been doing, you may recognize a few: Express Models, Kite Lights, Layout for You. But like Micro Miniatures, they make remote controls for lights. You know, what a resource that the amount of information in here is outstanding. I do hope you can. There's more than 820. I need to update that. There's nearer 4,000, I think. But even weird stuff like where to get rollers that you can do, like making cobblestones and things like that. Unfortunately, a lot of the links may not be up to date. They do tend to change them, and I can't keep up with them. But at least you'll know what to search on Dragon Badger models, and you'll find the latest site. But it is a fantastic resource that I can't assure you enough that it's so worthwhile keeping that in your book links, because the chances are you'll find something far quicker than you will on your own in Google. And then there's actually a load of free stuff. Yeah, and I do actually mean it's truly free. Okay, you got to print it yourself, but I've created a load of. I actually created a spreadsheet because I'm a bit of a spreadsheet guru. That sort of automatically makes these, and basically these are just showing you what sort of things that you can get, and if you click on it, it'll actually download a PDF for you, which you can then print in your black and white or color printer, preferably an inkjet, not a laser, because the laser ones come out very shiny. But in essence, you can print your own sheets, and I think they come with like 4 or 5 different numbers in each sheet. They're totally free. I've been since the beginning. Same, I had a little experimentation before my days in 3D printing. So if you cut some little cubes of balsa wood up, you can print these out and wrap them up, and they make stacks of tea chests, or a single tea chest. Something that you don't see, frequently used for moving house in the early part of the century. You don't often see them on model railways. And there's a link to Timscale. And there is actually, I can't get it to work. There's a search engine, so if you can't find something in the website, you can search for it. And there's a way of getting in touch with me. And there's also another resource that is absolutely, I mean, it goes on forever and ever and ever. But if you see a term used by model railway people, and you don't understand what it is, you may not get the right answer in Google, because it will take you to something that isn't model railway or railway related. But if you have a look in here, these are all related to model railways, and therefore, if you look it up, you'll end up picking up what it means. So, what's a FRED? Flashing rear end device. Who'd have known that? You've seen that in a bit of text. You say, who's this FRED guy? But it's all here. So if you put in FRED into the search engine, it will take you and should find this massive resource of glossary terms. So that's enough of that one. I guess the last thing we can talk about is Timscale. And I click on that, it moves that. Click on no. It's one of these buttons. I'll find it in a second. No, it's not that one. It's got to be that one. Yeah. So Timscale is a play on my name of timber surf or scale. I can do this as well now. That one. No. I don't want to show that one. Yay. Yeah. So the website is scalescenery.co.uk, and this basically as it's a shop. How do you work this thing? Yay! It's a shop that is. I'll put the comments back on so I know what you're saying behind my back. Hello, Maura. Thanks for coming. Yeah, so there's about, I've worked out, there's 1,300 different products that are all exclusively designed by me, and are available in the shop for you to buy. And they're very much, they're filling a market that is got gaps in it. So if you can't find something from somewhere else, there's a good chance you're likely to find it here. So, you know, we have really obscure things like vacuum cleaners, hospital beds, underground wiring cables and so forth, you know, that, as well as the more common stuff. But I'd like to think that a lot of my products are, well, how can I say it, of a finer quality than others out there, shall we say, as in more prototypical. Obviously, there still has to be a little bit of designer's license, shall we say, that things can't be too flimsy, otherwise they break the first time you pick them up. But they're as close as you can get without them not being printable or usable to being to real scale. And I think that unfortunately there is a lot of suppliers out there who are, well, I wouldn't say they're not professional. They're not designers, let's say. And you know, you can buy, especially laser cut stuff, which is why I need to get into it. There are some items out there that are really clunky and so overscale, it's ridiculous. It does annoy me. Oh gosh, I've missed a million. Oh yeah, I've missed a million. I'm sorry, folks. I've missed a million. What do you call it? Chat. Okay, we'll try and go through the chat and catch up. I always irks me that people can't keep up, and now I'm one of them, of course. So let's have a look. Everybody's saying hello again. Ryan. And now, where have you heard of Tim Scale Hospital? But yes. Thank you very much, Mura. If you're going to order some things, I've lost the chat. Where's the chat gone? I'll have to have a look on. Oh, it's bottomed out. That's it. No. I've caught up. That's impressive. Yeah, so there's the shop. And if I go back to something, that one, let's go back to this one for a minute. To show you my latest designs. Because more recently I had a request from somebody who wanted some different sized buckets for a JCB. So I designed up a couple of items, and of course it then struck me, yeah, you need that for the 360 diggers as well. So I designed some different ones for that. So that is the original metal bucket that came off the device. I actually ended up buying another one. I might actually put one of these on eBay. So that's the original metal bucket that it comes with, which is quite a large one. But I then thought, okay, you need a narrow one for doing narrow trenches, and there's lots of other implements that can be added to it. So let's reach over here, and so I thought there's things like those pneumatic drills. So I made a pneumatic drill that will go in it, and then there's like rakes and like things for raking out the ditches, so it gets all the grass out and leaves all the water behind. Ones that are like perforated. We see that. I can't see my screen at the same time, so you can see daylight through that one. Got little tiny holes in it. And then like there's a logging Class B claw, and I can't get it to hinge for the claws, so I thought I'd better make it as an open and a closed one, so that one's about to pick them up, and that one you could put some logs through as you do it. But there's a couple of these. So that's the metal grab claw, again in the open position, and one version in the closed position, so that fits on quite nicely to act as a grab from the truck. And then there's a metal crunchy one. When they demolish buildings, they can put a big claw on that chomps its way through. There's one that's a wide for scraping larger areas. There's a super wide bucket for digging in the ground, but much wider. I'm missing it, but there's a narrow one as well. And then there's a grab claw for picking things up. But the grab claw, the cutting claw, the wood picking up gizmos, and these things, that kind of doesn't matter if you fit it on one way or another. It's got 5 claws, so it doesn't really matter about it rotating. But I thought you'd really want to pose these in different positions because it'll only fix on one way. So I've designed it such that it does actually rotate. So that one rotates. This one also rotates freely, and this one is also, you can fix it on and it will rotate to whether you want it vertically or horizontally, which I thought was quite clever. That was a new exercise for me to make a rotating joint. So go back to my screen and catch up with the text again. So that'll be in the shop shortly. Latest thing I've been playing with, as it were. I broke it again. That was it. No, that'll do. That one. No. Where'd it go back? That one. Yeah. I know not what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm still doing little bits of design here and there. Gosh, I've been on for an hour. Wow, that's impressive, isn't it? Right, I better close up. Right, there is one more thing that I forgot to show you that I bought today. I do have a mail tray with the working mail set, etc. And I wanted to build it up into a decent size, sort of, proper sorting tray. And as I say, I'm looking to make up rakes of about 8. So I'll just change that to my Facebook group for 3D Tim's 3D prints. If you want to get in touch with me and talk about commissions, or if I've missed something in the range that you think I could do get in touch on Facebook. I am Tim Surf on Facebook because they don't like people who have a single name. They didn't consider Timber Surf as a real name, so I had to modify it and verify it so that they keep me on the flipping system. So that's Tim Surf. But if you go to the Tim Scale group, you'll find me in there. So I was saying, oh yeah. So the last thing is that I have missed one more thing. I didn't have a resin printer. Would we be able to print it on my behalf? I guess so. Dan, I only do resin printing. I don't do the FDM stuff. Thank you, Mura. So you place. I was supposed to read these out, aren't you? There are a lot of videos I've seen where they 3D print in place an object that moves. Always amazed me. Yeah, so you can actually print like a chain, and it will work surprisingly. I have actually done that. I've printed on one of the, I think it's a lifting beam, which is currently on sale. There's 2 versions. One which has eyes, so you can fit your own chains to it. But there is one that has a little link that is printed, and it is free. It's printed in within itself. It's quite clever. Yeah, get in touch on Facebook, Dan. Okay, so just before we go, and I have to say, I'm so gracious that so many people turned up. I'm actually amazed at how many people have turned up, because I literally thought, they might get 3 or 4, because I've been in I've been in the people's first lives, and I've been the other person trying to support the community by being there for them. So for me to get more than 5 or 6 people is absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much for joining the live. You might even encourage me to do some more. You never know. So with giving you the thanks, I'll just show you one more of a timber surf bargain that I picked up today because I completely forgot about it because it's on the end of the table. So we'll put you back on the table. And yeah, I was talking about mail train, and I've got most of it, but I saw this, which I think is in the right colour scheme or era of my mail train, and it was 12 quid, which I thought was a pretty good price until I saw that. Not sure if it's picking it up on the camera, but if I pull it out, ooh, sharp, you should be able to see. Yeah, you can just make out that it has a flashing tail light fitted. And now, literally right now, I've just worked out, is that from my era? I'm trying to do the 50s, 60s, maybe the 70s. Would they have had flashing tail lamps in the 60s? I'm not sure they would. So I may have got that one wrong, but never mind. I don't mind. It's hello, Dino. I think it's not a bad price because it's quite a good looking coach. And it's certainly one that I haven't got. Good night, Gary. He's gone 10 minutes ago, and I'm not keeping up, am I? I missed a few out, didn't I? You hope I'll do more. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, toes in the water now, so I can't say that I've never done them before. I don't know what I'm getting into, and I guess if I blow my own whistle, I've got multiple cameras. I haven't got the sound wrong. There's no echo worth talking about. Shush, Grace. You can't hear the echo. I'll sort that out. Don't worry about it. So, I'm pretty pleased with myself that it's not a complete fiasco, which has got to be good for me first go. I know they still use the lamps today, but I don't think they had flashing ones in the era that I'm doing, which is like the 50s, 60s, and maximum up to the 70s. I don't think it was a thing. I think it was more like maybe late 70s or 80s. Somebody correct me, before they started bringing in flashing lights because they were electronic. Thank you, Mark. Oh no, I'm not coming on camera. That you're still a long way off from that one. We'll see. Maybe next year. You have to subscribe and make sure that you keep coming back to see if I actually put my face up there. Right. Well, I think I've done myself in, and it's been great seeing you all here. I really appreciate the support. We are part of a great community, and we do all support each other. So it's great to see lots of friends and well-known faces in my life. It's very gratifying that it hasn't completely flopped. And maybe, I'm going to have to do some more. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I think I've told you everything I've needed to. There's not much more to tell. I have to start doing some modelling or something. But yeah, by all means, leave some suggestions as to what you want to see on a Timbers live, and I'll give it some thought and see what I can come up with. So I think that's about it. Well, we're an hour and a quarter in. Gosh, that's incredible. Never thought I'd last out this long either. And considering I only decided literally just before tea time that I was going to commit and do this. So yeah, I've done quite well, haven't I? Leave the flashing on the trains are a more modern thing. Yeah, I think so. I think I've dropped a clanger. I'm good at getting bargains, but sometimes I am an idiot. Not very often, but I think I'm an idiot. But I'm sure I can probably have a look at the circuitry and fix it so that it doesn't flash. Wow, 22 likes. Thank you very much, girls and boys. I didn't ask for them. Diorama build. Yeah, that's possible. I've got a couple of dioramas that I probably shared pictures on Facebook. I've got one of the playground because of all my 3D printed stuff. I've got one of a power poles. No, not power poles. A power substation, which I made as a demo. But I probably need to do some more. Probably farm implements is the next one. I did think about entering the WWS Scenics Facebook group and doing a farm diorama, but I just haven't got the time. Yeah, I know it's a train tech. I kind of guessed as much. It's got the button cell in it, but we'll have to do some research and see if I can convert it. Yes, you do take too long, Grace. You take too long for everything. I'd have built 4 railways by the time you painted some of the stuff. But I'm gonna have to come out and see you and give you some lessons on airbrushing, because you're doing me head in, girl. Yes, well, you know, we all have to begin somewhere. I know, Grace, and you know, I was a beginner at once, which is why I'm you know, a lot of people helped me in the past. I've taken so much information from other forums and groups that, you know, I feel obliged to give back to the community, because I've learned so much from online from other people. You know, I've got a good basic understanding of stuff because I'm an engineer, but there's lots of detail in model railways that I wouldn't know without having learnt it from other people. So yeah, I'm quite happy to give that back initially as a website, and I'd love to do more YouTube, but I just don't have the time, and I really hate doing editing, which is why I've been promising myself I must do some lives. You don't have to edit anything. It doesn't take 4 or 5 hours to put a live on. You just sit in front of the computer and get on with it. Well, give us a shout, Brian, and we can go together, mate. We go 2 by 2, so at least, well, you might hit the roof, but I don't think I will. I'm more Grace's size and Andy's size. Yeah, Andy, you can come. You'll fit. Right, so I think that's it, folks. It's been wonderful chatting with you. I can't believe I've babbled so much, because I'm not a talkative person. And I thank you again for joining. Right. I will, Brian. So that's all from me. To quote Jason, carry on modelling. Hello, Alan. You're late, but it doesn't matter. You can rewatch it in a bit. And maybe there may be some more future lives. Yes, I did see the Circle of Doom. Well, we'll give Lord Al a minute or two to say hello and goodbye to everybody, or has he been lurking? Yeah, sneaky rat, lurking. Oh, you rat! Yeah, I do a lot of lurking as well. I watch everybody's videos. Don't always comment. Just haven't got the time. You're very welcome, Mark. Right, so that's it, folks. Thank you very much for popping in, and I will say to you all, 1 minute warning. Thank you, Grace. Well, 30-second warning. I will say to you, ciao for now.